Entering the Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog Fantasy, the 3M Open. Picks, research, guess the odds. We'll do a course preview. Plus, I do want to let you know that we have a brand new contest, draft season-wise, for Underdog Fantasy for the last of golf. We have the PME Cup. It's 870 entries, $25 to play, and I think it's 10 max as well. Yep, there you go. It's like $2,000 for first, completely flat payouts. 1,000 for second, 900 for third, 800 for fourth. It's going to be a fun contest. Obviously, you're not going to know until the very last second who all of the players in the FedEx Cup are going to be, but it's going to be a 3-contest draft. There'll be a cut after the St. Jude onto the BMW. So it's a lot like the major season one that we ran a little bit earlier on in the year. Code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy right now will get you a deposit bonus of $250 for first-time depositors. So go do that. Join in. We're going to be doing some of these on the draft. I might try to get Cuss to do one with me, and he's just very terrified because he doesn't know how to do any of these things, that he might just draft the most ridiculous team. He'll be trying to draft live people in a PGA playoff, so he'll be like dead money in this pool. But I'm going to be jumping into the streets over the next few weeks. It's only 800 and something spots, so I think it's going to fill very quickly, and being a 10 max, the same people are going to be playing it over and over. So if you do want to get in, highly recommend that you go do that right now. Today's breakdown is also brought to you by FantasyNational.com. FantasyNational.com/Mayo will get you 20% off all of the membership levels. So let's get to the course and try to figure out what's going on this week. This will be year number 6 for TPC Twin Cities in Blaine, Minnesota, which is just outside of St. Paul, and Minneapolis is one of those suburbs. Par 71, 7,439 or 31 yards, bent grass greens, 72 bunkers, 15 holes with water in play, and above average green sizes of 6,500 yards. I actually walked this course the very first time it was played there in 2019. That year, Matthew Wolff ended up beating Morikawa and Bryson coming down the stretch. He putted it from off the green in for eagle on 18, and that answered Bryson DeChambeau's eagle from the hole ahead. There are some changes for 2024. There was a lot of spring work done at the course, which included rebuilding and adding new bunkers and an expansion of the tees that this field is going to be playing on number 6, 7, 9, 14, and 17. This would like I said, I got to walk the course, and it's like easy PGA National is the way that I would put it. Like, you can just see where all the danger is completely in front of you. There's 27 water hazards. As I mentioned, 15 holes have them in play. If you just miss the water, you're gonna score a lot. Only holes number 5, 8, 13, and 15 are actually water free. I mean, if you really shank one, but that's not going to be the case for everyone. And watch out for EVR. Yes, he went to the University of Minnesota. We all bet him because of that one year. I think he shot 80 in the first round because he found the middle of every water hazard on the course. But this is a pure ball strikers course. It gets thrown around a lot, but it even showed up in the strokes gain metrics from the very first time that it was here. Now, this field is not as strong, so you're going to get your outliers, in which we have seen where guys just run hot putters and they absolutely can't be caught. But if you're awesome with your irons, gain a few strokes off the tee, and just don't be a train wreck. Gain a little bit on the greens. That's how it's going to go. 4 of the top 7 finishers in 2019 gain less than a stroke with their putters, including the winner, Matthew Wolff, and Colin Morikawa, which is pretty par for the course. As we've seen the course evolve over the past 5 years, you can see how it was a little bit different than that, where a lot of some of the higher-end putters, or at least guys who putted well for the week, ended up doing pretty well. The trickiest part is just avoiding landmines. They're going to be pretty random. That's what happens when there's a ton of water at a course, and one poorly judged approach shot can be the end of the week for everyone. This was played on the Champions Tour before this, by the way. And when it was on the Champions Tour, it had wider fairways. It was a little bit shorter. Those were some of the renovations done before the PGA actually took this over. So let's jump over to FantasyNational.com right now and take a look at this scorecard. It's not really telling us too much that you don't know if you've paid attention to this course over the years. You have the par 4s, there's 4 of them. The average distance is 203 yards. 3 of the most parred holes on this course are the par 3s. 4 of the top 6 in par percentage of the par 3s. 6 holes on the course have a sub 15% birdie rate. 3 of them are par 3s. Lee Hodges won a year ago. He recorded 2 par 3 birdies on Saturday. In the other 3 rounds, he had 1 birdie and 1 bogey on the par 3s. He just made everything up elsewhere. And you can see that when you get to the course breakdown, when we kind of judge everything out. Just play them slightly above field average. You don't need to go crazy on the par 3s. Just don't absolutely gas can them, and you're going to be fine and probably in contention if you continue to make some putts. There are 11 par 4s on the course. 440 yards is the distance. 3 of the toughest holes on the course are par 4s, and they all come on the front 9, 2, 3, 9, all of which hold a bogey or worse rate north of 22%. 4 of Hodges' 5 bogeys last season came on the par 4, 3 of them coming on the front 9. In the par 5s, there's 3 of them, 595 yards. All of them have a birdie or better rate over 36%. Well, none of the other holes on the course were over 26.5%. But the finishing hole can be pretty boom or bust when we take a look at it. You can see right here, it does have a bogey rate of 14.3%, a double or worse rate of 6%, but also an eagle rate of 3%, a birdie rate of 36%. Like, this is the swing hole of the course. And it's actually kind of fun that it's the final one. Like, it's a drive that's pretty easy to hit. You can hit it short of the water to the right in this thick rough, which probably prevents you from going over. The problem this hole presents is that the layup can be difficult if you get yourself out of position. Like, even if you're in the middle of the fairway, you still have to clear the water in order to get the green. You're just going to see a lot of players hit it over the green on their second shot, which does bring the water back into play with a very poorly timed chip. So if you can land it on the putting surface, with your second, like Eagle's most definitely in play, or it's a very easy 2-putt birdie, but then everything else comes into play in terms of a birdie rate. So even just kind of scrolling down a little bit more to try to see where everyone has made their bones, you see a lot of 200 plus approach shots. Longer irons tend to come into play, which is a big difference, especially with a lot of the guys who had played in Kentucky the week before, or at the Barracuda this week, which is honestly the majority of this field. Not a ton of guys from the Open Championship are coming over. We'll see that in a second once we see the bigger names who are in the field here. But it's been a wedge fest each of the past 2 weeks. Like, it's going to still be a very driver-heavy course, which matches and aligns with what we've seen the past 2 weeks for some of the other players. But you got a lot of approaches from 150 and in the past 2 weeks, not as much this week, where 23% is coming from 200 plus. 21% from 175 to 200, and then another 18% from 150 to 175 yards. So fewer wedges than we're accustomed to each of the past few weeks on tour. The hard holes, there's only 3 of them that measure 400 to 450 yards. But there's another 2 par 4s that play over 500 yards. These are the 5 difficult ones. So when we add those into the model on Fantasy National, that's the primary range that we're going to find. And again, that accounts for a lot of those longer-ish approaches from like 175 to 200 coming in. And then you have the 3 par 3s that measure over 200 yards, and that's how you end up with these long proximity distances. -3 was the cut line a year ago, +2 in 2022, -1, and -2. So -1 to -3 is likely to be the cut line this time around. Your average driving distance a little bit longer than it is at your driving accuracy a little bit higher than at your regular PGA Tour event by only a percentage and a half point or so. So nothing crazy. Green and regulation up around 72%. So when we get to underdog this week, anything over like 12.5 greens and regulation is what you should be looking for average. And then that's higher than your average PGA Tour event. Scrambling a little bit lower. A lot of that has to do with the water. It's just hard to scramble when you're taking a penalty stroke and it's not coming up out of the rough. Fewer 3 putts than normal. Average driving distance way above your average tour event by about 7 yards per drive. And then your average proximity on greens and regulation, pretty low. So let's jump over to the actual field and try to figure out what happened the past few years. As I mentioned, Lee Hodges ended up winning a year ago. You can always just access the tournament history page on Fantasy National in order to figure this out. You can see Lee Hodges up at the top, Martin Laird, Party Marty, JT Poston, and Kevin Streelman in second. Good tournament. Not. And then Keith Mitchell has come 5th, and T5, and then solo 5th, each of the past 2 turns that he's played it. I bet you he comes out number 1 in the modeling as well. But you can see with Lee Hodges, he just had a fantastic tournament, just lit it up everywhere, especially, approach and putting. That's going to be your key to winning most tournaments. Trying to figure out who can actually do that can be a little bit different. He won by 7 last year. He was the solo leader with a Thursday 63, followed it up with the 64. On Friday, he was 5 strokes ahead going into the weekend, and then 3 of the top 4 putters of the week cashed top 5 paychecks. We can see that. Click on the wrong tab there. Let's go to the very top. You can see the best putters were Dylan Woo, 11.5 strokes gained putting. Then you had Laird, S.H. Kim, Lee Hodges. Then you had Aaron Badley. Keith Mitchell was actually up there too. It's funny that Keith Mitchell was able to do all this while losing strokes on approach, which is kind of the complete opposite of what he has done so far this season, where he's just racking it up in terms of driving and approach and cannot make a putt to save his life. Let's see if he was able to make a putt. You can just see all the red on his player card. Can't chip, can't putt, but how has he done at the 3M over the years? He has putted fantastically. He has gained over 5 strokes putting at TPC Twin Cities in 3 of his 4 career starts, which is just incredible to see. And just see how much he loses on approach. I mean, a lot of that probably has to do with hitting into the water a bunch, and that's how you end up with these like wildly staggering minus 5.6 type approach numbers. And he probably like chipped it into the water on 18 from around the green as well, although he's a terrible around the green player anyway, so it wouldn't be crazy to think about him losing 4 strokes. But it's just funny to see great driving, great putting, but his bread and butter, as you can see, he has not lost strokes on approach since Pebble Beach, which was 2 weighted rounds, and it was 0.4. And then before that, it was at Sony, 1.7, and then everything else. So basically every start since Pebble Beach, every start since Pebble Beach, he has not lost driving or on approach, which is crazy to think that he has won top 10 in that time because his putting has been so atrocious. I will wager he will be the most bet on guy this week if he opens with fair odds. It'll just be difficult to figure out if that's going to end up being what he does, because there are some decent players in the field this time around that could be ahead of him, but just because of, well, I guess he doesn't have great course. 2 top 5s would make it great course history. So yeah, he might end up coming in at a decent price here. It sucks, like, because he would be a good bet, but if he's like 18-1, then he's not going to be a very good bet. Finau won the year before that. He didn't shoot anything worse than 68 once during the week. He was 4 strokes better than Griot on Sunday, and a late birdie streak from 14 to 16 was the difference because he won by 3 over Sungjae and Emiliano Griot. Distance wasn't a major deal, as none of the top 12 for the week in driving distance came inside the top 15, yet 7 of the top 9 finishers gained at least 2.7 strokes off the tee. So it was just a big accuracy fest that week. Not that you needed to have like minus distance, but just average distance and hit a bunch of fairways. You can see Finau gained 0.8 strokes putting, almost 8 on approach. The top 4 on the leaderboard: Hoagie, Sungjae, Griot, and Finau, and then even James Hahn. My kids are asleep upstairs, so I'm filming this very much before the Open Championship really hits a high gear on a Sunday morning. Don't want to wake them up and have them interrupt the show. James Hahn also gained 6.3 strokes on approach. So it was big time approach and driving that year, whereas the year before we saw a lot of the top end putters. So there's many ways to do this. Just avoid the water. Just if you can do that, you're going to be good to go. Because you see Cam Champ won the year before that in 2021, and bomb gouge, make some putts is what I recall happening that year. Yeah, it wasn't even bomb and gouge. He gained a bunch in distance, but 7.3 strokes on approach, 8.5 on the greens. You can see Louis. I had bet on Louis and Charles and Vegas that year. I had 3 second-place finishers, so that's always fun to see. Louis couldn't make a putt, and then everyone else just came up short because Cam Champ made everything coming down the stretch. He gradually got better as the week went along. He was 69, 67, 67, 66. He won at 15 under. He was bogey free on Sunday, and he birdied 2 of the difficult par 3s. Like, it was infuriating to watch. 4 of the top 5 putters for the week ended up with a share of at least 6th place, but those guys were like Ryan Armour and Adam Hadwin at 4.7 and 6.4, and then you had Schwartzel and Cam Champ, the other guys. But you can see like big approach numbers, big driving numbers on some people, like TPC Lee ended up doing pretty well tee to green. If we just take a look at the tee to green players, Sergio was number 1 tee to green, and he lost 7.3 strokes putting because that's what Sergio would do to you back in the day. Also, Mav McNeely lost strokes putting and gained tee to green. That's not a very Chez Reavie type of thing to do. And we'll take a look back at one more year, 2020, the COVID year. This was Michael Thompson, 2 clear of Adam Long at minus 19. I think we had all bet on Finau that year, who came third, I think. Where did Finau? Yeah, he ended up, there was a huge tie for third. Like, even, I forget who I had as like my each way plays. Maybe this was actually the year that I had Schwartzel. I think that it was. He had all 4 rounds in the 60s, but it just, the chop didn't even turn out to be worth it by the time anything came down. So it was a difficult year. Minus 19 was the winner. A winner at PGA National, Michael Thompson. So just very good at avoiding the waters. I have no idea what happened to Michael Thompson. He has seemingly fallen off the face of the earth. When was the last time he played a tournament? Like, this guy has won, like, I don't know, he's won at least 2 times on the PGA Tour. And apparently he turned himself into JJ Spawn with his big bushy beard. But I don't recall him looking like that before. He hasn't played this year. Maybe he retired? Maybe he's just injured? I have no idea what happened to Michael Thompson. Michael Thompson, if you are watching out there, please let me know what happened. We're worried about you. We'll go to the strokes gained categories and see how it was done this year. Michael Thompson, he was on pace. He was 1 off the pace after Thursday. He shot a 64, brought home the title by not shooting anything worse than 68 for the week. He overcame losing strokes off the tee and around the green by leading the field in putting. 11 players finished with a share of third place, and 7 of them picked up 3 strokes with their putter. I'm going to guess Bob Shelton was not one of those people. It played really well. I believe he led in tee to green. No, Matthias Schwab, great wedge player, which is really funny, and Robbie Shelton, 2 great wedge players, ended up leading tee to green for the week, almost exclusively done with off the tee on approach. Again, this was in 2020. Ryan Moore and Emiliano Grillo. It's funny to see that there are just different types of players have popped up here over the years. So there's not a ton of rhyme or reason. Hoagie was T46, did well tee to green. I don't even know if Hoagie's in the field. I gotta bet that loser again. Although he made the weekend at Troon. I don't have the numbers on it. I know someone did it a few years ago, that players that did well at the Open Championship but made the cut versus not making the cut. It was out there. I think it was negligible in terms of, good players tended to make the cut at Troon, and then if they came over and played, well, they were the good players anyway, so it didn't really make a difference. This has been the Tony Finau Open since its existence. As you can see, he's gained the most strokes by far of anyone. Grillo has top 10s 3 of the past 4 years. Cam Davis has come inside the top 20 3 of the past 4 years. So there is a Rocket Mortgage connection here. Obviously, Finau has won the Rocket Mortgage. Cam Davis has won the Rocket Mortgage. I don't know about Lee Hodges. Maybe we can take a look at that. That's the first thing that we're going to do here. Let's take a look at the Rocket Mortgage and see if there has been much crossover over the years. Obviously, we just saw Finau and Cam Davis. So we'll take a look at Cam Davis and take a look at this year's Rocket Mortgage. And I want to take a look at Lee Hodges to see how he has done at the Rocket Mortgage over the years, to see if that can just tell us anything. Just, any little edge that we can get here. So Lee Hodges has been brutal at the Rocket Mortgage. Let's take a look at the leaderboard this year. So you had Rai, Akshay. Akshay is in the field this week. Very accurate player, great with his irons, can kind of light it up. So I might go back to the Akshay. Well, he did miss the cut at the Open on the number, so could be a way to go back in on him. Oh, there's EVR. We can bet EVR. Rico Hui, who just continues to light up. I really hope he can win the Barracuda today, as I have money on him. But after he stole all of our money last week with that horrible 72nd hole performance, maybe this is a way to get back in to it. So Dylan Wu was 10th at the Rocket Mortgage. We saw earlier that he had a top 5 finish. JJ Spawn continues to play good golf. He's another guy. He had a very poor 3rd round at the Barracuda, but he's another guy that I had money on this week, that if he can rally on Sunday and beat Mark Messier, who's leading, then all of a sudden we're off to the races again. Clanton, Silverman, these guys have just continued to be playing really good golf coming through. So that's what happened this year. Let's go back to the year before, 2023, at the Rocket Mortgage. Fowler, Hadwin, we saw Hadwin with the top finish. Glover, Custy Pete. So not a ton, but they're very similar fields. That's why I bring that up just off the hop. So who else? Adam Long has played this tournament pretty well. Poston has played it well with 2 top 11s the past 2 years. And again, we're just looking at players who are in the field this time around. Keith Mitchell, as I mentioned, top 5 each of the past 2 times that he's played. So Hoagie is playing top 20s each of the past 2 years. And the year that he came T46, he was top 5 in strokes gained tee to green. So I've been losing money on Hoagie all year. I don't see why I would stop now. Sam Burns is in the field for the first time since 2020. Billy Horschel's also technically in the field. And I think Justin Rose is as well. I get a sense that some of these guys might actually pull out, especially if Billy ends up winning the Claret Jug or Rose does, that hopping the flight from Troon to St. Paul, Minneapolis, or Minneapolis, St. Paul, MSP, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Site, by the way, as I will point out, because Moose and the team that owned Fantasy National now, when we sold it, that team is based in Minneapolis. So I've been out there a whole bunch of times over the course of the past few years. Like I said, I walked around on TPC Twin Cities while the 3M was going on. But the airport at MSP has a PGA lounge because the Ryder Cup was there a few years ago, and the Ryder Cup is going to be at Hazeltine in a few years' time. If you ever need to make a connection anywhere and you have a long layover, I know most people do it at O'Hare when they're traveling around or go to Atlanta. If somehow you can work your way through with a longer layover, if that's just what it demands, at Minneapolis, St. Paul, and you do have lounge access to some of these places, there's a golf simulator in the PGA lounge. It's awesome that if there's any place to get stuck in America for a layover for an extended period of time, the Minneapolis airport is exactly where you want to be. Just a quick tip for me. I have another tip because I'm getting old now. I ordered a nose hair trimmer and ear hair trimmer. It showed up yesterday, and I think I cut all the hair out of my nose. Now, every time that I put my head down like this, snot just filters out. Apparently, the hair is there to stop that from happening. So don't do that. Just trim it. Don't try to cut it all out. I'm an absolute goober when it comes to this stuff. But yeah, that's what I do. I've ordered some Dr. Hose and a nose hair trimmer in the past 3 months. That's what I order online these days. It's a real sad scene. Boy. Let's jump back to Fantasy National. Code Mayo! Fantasy National /Mayo at Fantasy National in order to get yourself that discount. So let's see some of the players, first-time players in the field. Bhatia, Clanton, Cootie brothers. Maybe we go back to Parker. Probably not Parker. Piss and Cootie could end up doing. Fishburne's playing really well at the Barracuda. Our guy, ADDC, did not really have a great year. Coming out, Rico Hey, first time playing the course. 4chan Kim, another guy who's been in the running each of the past few weeks. This could be a really good Jake Knapp course. It's not really a grip it and rip it and send it everywhere course because you'll find the water, but he's been very good with the driver. Kitayama's playing. Who else? Thorbjornsen's in the field. Toasty is coming through. What else we got here? Carson Young. Damon is playing. Damon's played it before, so those guys have played before. William McGirt somehow found his way to the field. Great. Strong field you got here. Minneapolis. Better field than I would have expected, in complete fairness to everything that's going on here. All right. Everyone who tunes into the Pat Mayo Experience knows from time to time I like to talk to you about some health supplements that I end up taking, and I've been doing Timeline's Mito Pure now for about a month. Feel great? And I think you can too. Take 2 soft gels a day for 2 months, and you can see significant improvements in your cellular energy, your muscle strength, and your endurance. That was the big thing. I've been golfing more this summer and lifting less. Yet, when I go back to the gym for my once a week, like max lift, I'm not really atrophying that much. I'm not losing a ton of muscle, which is absolutely fantastic news for me and my golf game, because if you work out too much, then you get too sore, you get too stiff, you need to retain that flexibility. I'm retaining my muscle mass at the same time, although I'm not working out as much, and it comes in 2 product designs to fit your needs. They're berry powder, which is great to mix into your breakfast yogurt or daily smoothie. That's how I've been doing it. I've been eating some strawberries, raspberries, blackberries with a little bit of yogurt, a little bit of protein powder, then boom, Timeline's Mito Pure right on top of that. Or they have soft gels for the days where you're just on the run and wanted something convenient to grab and go. So, Timeline is offering 10% off your first order of Mito Pure right now. So go to timeline.com/Mayo to get that 10% off. All right? Passion, drive, patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Supercharger, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. with all the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. Let's run a model for the 3M. It worked the last time I used it, so we'll go to past 24 rounds. I'll show you what's I got on the go. 14% off the tee, 28 on approach, 9 for birdies or better gain, 5 for opportunities gain, 5 for 200 to 225 yard par 3s, par 4s in general, 14%, par 5s, 9%, eagles gained 5%, par 4s 450 to 500 yards, weighted at 5%, and strokes gained putting weighted at 6%. Let's figure it out. I bet you it's Keith Mitchell. Oh, it's Aaron Rai. Aaron Rai's in this field? Really? Why the hell is Aaron Rai playing? Oh God, another man. This tournament is just such an opportunity to lose money on a ton of guys. I did not realize Aaron Rai was playing this week, but there he is. How does he play at this tournament? Has he played this tournament before? Dude's playing like every single week coming in here. Yeah, he was 20th a year ago at the 3M. He's currently, he's getting his round done early Sunday at the Open Championship. Last I checked in, he was 14 over par, so watch out for him this week. But you can see that, top 4th, 7th, 2nd, 19th, 14th. It's going to be the week that he comes in at 12-1. No one bets him, and that's the end of Aaron Rai's money for everyone. He ends up winning when no one bets him. Finau is 2nd. Keith Mitchell is 3rd. Clanton is 4th. Chan Kim, Hoagie, Hui, Akshay, Kevin, Keegan Bradley. Oh, Keegan Bradley's playing. Okay. Ben Griffin, Johnny Vegas, JJ Spawn, Andrew Novak, Harry All. So basically every loser that I bet this week to make the cut is actually playing in the 3M. Maybe we should take that in consideration next time around. They're more concerned about winning in Blaine than they were the Claret Jug and becoming the champion golfer of the year. So Thigala's playing. He's 16th in the modeling. McClure Messenger, who again is winning the Barracuda currently going into the final round. Matt Wallace, Smelly Kelly, Seamus Power. There's EVR. Damon Lonto is up there. Hadwin is playing, who is coming back over. Sammy Burns, he's another guy who's in contention to win at Troon. So we might not. These guys just might lose a whole bunch of their potential high-end players here. At least name players. So that was past 24 rounds. Let's take a look at the past 12 rounds. And if anyone else jumps out to us here. Model rank, Clanton, Keith Mitchell, Finau, Hui, and Aaron Rai comes in, number 5. Akshay, Hayden Springer, Eri O, JJ Spawn, Ben Griffin. Then you have Gracerman, Silverman, Vegas, Carson Young, Chan Kim, Andrew Novak. There's Hollywood Hoagie coming in right there. Hoagie's really petered off. Dylon Wu comes in at number 22 as well. We just saw him with the top 10 at Rocket Mortgage. We saw him inside the top 10 at this tournament before as well. So we were on Rye. Let's see how Novak has been doing. 70th at the Scottish, but 7th at the John Deere. If he makes the FedEx Cup playoffs, so Seb Straka lost in a playoff to Zalatoris 2 years ago after winning the John Deere. And then you had Lucas Glover, who had won the John Deere 2 years previous to that, win and in Memphis before that. It's funny that the John Deere guys end up doing really well, but just there's another guy, Andrew Novak, played well at the John Deere. Maybe he can get himself going. Tom Ogie missed the cut at the Scottish after a 3rd at the Travelers. Did make the weekend. It was like playing well. He's on the course as we speak at Troons. Maybe he's a bit jet lagged, but again, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Dylan Wu was 31st in Kentucky. No clue how he's currently doing over at the Barracuda. The Barracuda is a tough one to unravel because you do have to play it with a bit of a different strategy, it being Stableford scoring over anything else. If we just take a look at like regular strokes gained over the course. Let's go to strokes gain, the strokes gain model that I have rigged up for myself. See who does well on that. Finau, Clanton, no different names. Silverman does well. He was the first round leader at Barracuda, but has slipped back. Carson Young is actually kind of coming on. You would want him to be better in terms of like longer irons. He's not a very big hitter. It was really only the John Deere and Canadian Open 2 short. I guess, yeah, I mean, John Deere's, anyone can kind of play well there, but shorter players have done well there. And just physically, he's very short. So watch out for that. Strokes gained total, just in general. And let's go back over time to see who some of the bigger name players could be in this tournament. So past 50 rounds. So for the year players that are doing well. Rai, Bhatia, Finau, McNeely, Novak. There's Billy Ho, comes in at number 6. I'm still not over me bringing up Billy Ho all week, me drafting him in the head-to-head, and me looking at his odds at like 250 to 1 and being like, it's too long. I don't want to bet on a guy that long. And of course, he's the one going into the final round leading. Scotty or Xander probably win. It's just crazy to think, it really would have been a nice top 8 finish after all of my guys ended up in the bad wave and played horrible this week. It's very infuriating. EVR, Pendrith, Chan Kim. Pendrith making a run at the Barracuda as well. Sam Burns, Hoagie, Thigala, Clanton, Gracerman is another one who's been playing pretty well, as is Rico. Hey, if we take a look at the recent results, you'll see those names really pop up in terms of strokes gained total. Rye, Clanton, Bhatia, Hoy, Hall, Finau, Springer, Gracerman, Chan, Kim. This is basically the leaderboard at the Barracuda. You just had to sort by this number and add. There's McClure, Messenger anyway. He's still inside the top 20 of all these numbers. So is Fishburne. So is Rogers. All the guys that are up there. That's just what you need to look at for the Barracuda. Just remember that for next year. Just sort by strokes gained total and be on your way. There's JJ Spawn. I don't know how Shipley is doing, or Novak. I guess Novak probably took the week off after playing in Scotland the week before. But those are the players who are playing well coming into this event. So not really much we can glean from any of this in terms of guys from down the field. I've given you a couple here. No real big deep sleepers that we're seeing at the moment. So if we go to past 50 rounds and just use the strokes gain model that I looked at, Novak, Griffin, Gim, Silverman, Chan Kim, all guys that you kind of know at the moment. Eckroat's playing. He just won. It might be a nice time to jump back on Eckroat or Svensson, two guys that have played pretty well at the Honda Classic, now the Cognizant Classic, over the years. Just based on water, maybe it doesn't get in their heads here, and all of a sudden Eckroat can actually start rolling the putter a little bit. Again, let's see how he has been doing. Not horrible, but not well either. He's basically transformed back into the guy that he was pre-Mexico. The approach has been good. The off the tee has been good. He can't chip or putt anymore. He's basically minor league Keith Mitchell, but sometimes when he putts, he can win, like we saw at the Classic, at the PGA Championship. He does have some strokes gained upside on the greens. It's just normally he ends up losing a ton, which is not great news if you bet on someone to win. But to look from the back of the pack, Michael Kim's dealing with an injury. He told us that on Twitter. So be wary of him. Rio Hasetune is up there. There's Kitayama, who won at Bay Hill. Bay Hill is an Arnie design. This is an Arnold Palmer designed course, and maybe there is a little bit of things with him. He's played well at PGA National in the past. I have no idea if he's ever played this event before. Let's see, the 3M Open. He has not. The approach has been really bad for him. It was really good earlier on in the year, so you never really know what you're going to get from him. It's always a mixed bag, and the wind doesn't quite impact this course like it does coastal courses, coastal-ish courses like Bay Hill or PGA National. Being in Minnesota, not a lot of oceans in sight in the middle of Minnesota. However, he's played well. He's won at an Arnold Palmer design. That's always good news. If we're just grasping at straws here, that's something that we can get behind. If we just take a look at approach, and to see if it matches up anything with off the tee, Finau, Hoagie, Mitchell, Rye, Damon, Kevin Yu, Eckroat, Svensson, Kelly Craft. How has Svensson played here? You just need him to putt. The guy's such a loser on the greens. It's pretty tough to figure that out. All right, 3M Open, 37th, 15th, miscut. All right, he hasn't putted well here, but the approach play and the tee to green has been good. He's going to be listed at the back of the pack. Akshay just might be the play, to be perfectly honest. Hopefully he doesn't have the major jet lag from coming back, but this course really does suit him. If you don't need plus distance, you can still make eagles. You can run a hot putter, but usually dominate on approach. That's kind of what he does. He's only lost strokes on approach twice, 3 times. Basically since Phoenix, he's lost strokes 3 times. He got a really bad wave super early on in the morning in Phoenix, so I wouldn't really worry too much about that. Pure bent has not been his favorite surface, but we can see how it goes with him moving forward. Okay, let's guess the odds for the 3M Open. It's not going to be a fun betting board when this opens. And this is also thinking about Horschel, Burns, and Rose very much in the mix at Troon, scheduled to play in this tournament. They might just pull out of the tournament. If one of them wins, or if one of them shoots 81 or something like that, all 3 of them might not make the trek back over. So here's what we're looking at right now. I think Finau and Burns open as favorites, maybe Finau by himself at 12 to 1, Thigala at 14, Horschel at 18. After that, I have Hoagie, Akshay, and Keith Mitchell and Keegan Bradley all at 25 to 1. Rose at 28, Griot, Poston, and Cam Davis at 35 to 1. And then you have this mix of the young guys. You have Clanton, Thorbjornsen, and Shipley. Shipley tends to be last of that bunch. Thorbjornsen and Clanton, although they haven't won, like coming out such hot fire and then dropping back a little bit. Maybe we get a bit of a break on what we can do with them. They were like 18 to 1, down to 10 to 1 at some of the alt events. I'm guessing they come in anywhere between 28 and 45 to 1, depending on the book. When it opens, I'm going to guess they're probably going to be pretty popular bets this week, and probably for good reason, too. I mean, these guys are great players. We saw Wolf beat Morikawa after instant, like Morikawa and Wolf had just turned pro at that point in 2019, and ended up winning at this tournament. So if you just want to bet like Clanton and Thorbjornsen, it might be a good situation for you this week. Anyway, join Underdog and use code Mayo. Get that deposit bonus, of up to $250 and play in that FedEx Cup playoff tournament. We're going to be doing some drafts on here to walk you through, and use fantasynational.com/Mayo. Get yourself the app. The app will be back this week because the Open Championship will be over. And for the rest of the year, I guess we got Olympics coming up. That's going to be a difficult one to try to judge, but I should have a research show for that for you the week after. And then I'm going to be at the Wyndham Championship Saturday and Sunday. If anyone's in the Greensboro area and has access to golf, I'll come out and play golf with you. You can sneak me onto your course. I'll be there on Thursday night, so anytime Friday morning, I would love to go hang out with some viewers of the show, play some golf with you. All right, so let me know. Email me at mayomediainc@gmail.com. Send me a DM on Twitter or anything like that if you're in the Greensboro area and want to hook a guy up. All right, thank you all for watching. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!